right, what up, everybody? This is Cowboy 8:30 AM EST, and we are doing it live. Algo Factory. We're on X, Rumble, YouTube, all that stuff. Let's see if we got Timothy in the house. What is up? If you have any charts you want to see today, just go ahead and ask. We got time, we'll do them. We're going to jump right into the charts. We're going to take a look at Bitcoin. We did have a little bit of news on Ethereum that we're going to talk about as well. I don't get too far into the news on these shows, but I will say that apparently there is some FUD out there. SEC supposedly considering Ethereum to be a security. Of course, that's going to put downward pressure on Ethereum. It's going to take away the possibility of any kind of ETF anytime soon. Now, if you were in the private group with us over at Algo Factory, V the Gorilla told us months ago that there would not be an ETF for Ethereum anytime soon. I mean, not terribly soon. We knew this was the way. A lot of people were buying Ethereum and pushing it up based on the ETF narrative, but we were given the information that this was not going to be the case, and this SEC FUD is probably some evidence towards that. So we're going to look at Ethereum, but first let's take a look at Bitcoin. You want to see Pith? Okay, yeah, Pith is something else. Yeah, you know what? Let's just take a quick look at the liquidity zones with the Bitcoin here. Let me delete these old liquidities, and we'll just start fresh. All right. Now the 80 and 88,000, those are upside targets for me, right? So I'm going to leave those on. And if we look at the Kingfisher, I've already pulled the liquidity data. We have upside 68.2 and 69.2 roughly. So 68.2 and 69.2 are where price could go next. So I'm going to stretch this out here. And we got 68.2, which is really, we should be at a lower time frame for this. Let's drop down. Oh, this is the weekly. Yeah, we're pretty high time frame. We'll go to the 3 hour for that. Okay, so we said 68.2 and 69.2. Is that correct? So, well, there's 68.2. So some liquidity right there. It was actually 69.150. So these are some areas where price could go next just as a move up. And then, there's a little bit higher, but we'll look also, we have kind of a little bit of a block between 64.4 and 65.3. Not a whole lot there. So let's go ahead and paint that on. 64.4 and 65.3. So we have that bit right there. There's not a lot in that block, but it's there. And then the next decent sized node is down to 61,300. So we'll mark that down. And that's going to be also at the bottom of this area here. So just in this area, you'll where this dip was and some prior consolidation down towards the bottom of that, you'll see there is some liquidity. So we'll just leave that there. Maybe drop a line like right here. As of now, short term, I'd say Bitcoin looks relatively bullish. It's just kind of bullish against resistance. So it's going to be sort of pushing up, but maybe kind of pushing up slowly. So that's, if I had to simply bet which way it was going to go from here into which liquidity zone, I would venture to guess upwards. That's what I would do. But of course, Bitcoin being Bitcoin might run for liquidity down before going up. But in this case, gun to my head, which way does it go? I'd say it goes up. And we looked at the liquidity on the higher time frame, on the higher time frame. So had we looked on a lower time frame, we might have seen some other little liquidity nodes in the area for the high leverage, but we didn't do that. So I would say right now it seems as if Bitcoin, if we zoom out a little bit, might just be stabilizing in the mid 60s, right? And we talked about this. We talked about the potential pre-having pullback taken price down to the mid 50s, but there's a lot of bullishness again, as we've talked about for weeks, or at least a couple weeks, that there are a lot of people simply buying Bitcoin regardless of the price. So, not necessarily waiting for pullbacks on the institutional side. So, there's plenty of liquidity from these consolidations right here. Price is in a little bit of a bullish move. I would expect price probably just to float up to this area, up to this 68 to 69 area. That's my next move on that. And then we'll take a look at Ethereum and we'll take a look at Pith. Ethereum. All right. So, well, looks like I kind of loosely predicted a sort of a consolidation in this area, and it looks like that is what it's more or less doing. Grabbed a little liquidity down low here. So, more or less what I said. This probably could be like manipulated down a little bit. We might see as Bitcoin ranges, I'd imagine Ethereum will find some kind of range in this area. Something like this. We'll see. We'll see what it does. In the near term, again, I know there's like this kind of FUD with Ethereum, but the charts are not really seeing the FUD. The charts are not seeing the FUD. It looks to me like Ethereum will just simply range where it is, and the FUD may or may not really affect price that much. Now, if the SEC comes out and says, yeah, it's a security, then we have a different issue altogether. What's up, March? We're just talking about your baby, Ethereum. But like I say, I mean, despite the FUD for the last, I don't know, 18 hours, 24 hours, it looks great to me. I don't see any problem with price action on Ethereum. So in the absence of anything major, I would expect it to range above 3,000 for the moment. I don't see anything different with that. So it's just stabilizing along with Bitcoin. Seems like what that's going to do. Booyah says SG. Let's go ahead over to Pith for Timothy. This is one I actually missed out on. This was one that I heard about several weeks ago. I just didn't play it. Let me go to I think it might not be too late for this one though. This seems to be relatively new to the game, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. Yeah. So Pith hit. I heard about Pith below 30 cents. Now it's at about $1. So actually, I don't know anything about the project, which is something that I probably should look into at least to see what it is. But Pith Network seems to be doing well. I probably would treat this move right here. So let me highlight the move that I'm going to look at. Okay. I'm going to look at this as an expansion. Okay. So I'm going to use that for Fibonacci measurements because it's in price discovery more or less. Its high was at $1.18. So it's not technically at a lower time frame in price discovery, but really it's pretty much there. I mean, it hit the exchanges here on the 21st of November. And since January, it's just, gone up, and new all-time high was in like mid-February. And it's just done really great since then. Looks like, Bitcoin pulled it down like it, typically does with things. So if I were to treat that as an extension on top of which I can place my Fibonacci tool, then we would be looking at extensions targets around $1.38 and about $1.63. So if I were simply trading this and my algos told me it's time to go long, let's just say my algos did tell me to go long, then I would be saying here it is, something like this. And my trade would look like that. It's a nice 3-to-1 to top target. I may or may not have a tighter stop on that. That just, I'm not really sitting here and calculating the stop in front of everybody. So, that being the case, yeah, that's probably what I would do. Something like this on Pith. I know people who are holding it long term though. I know people they want to hold it through the bull, and I mean good traders too. So Pith is something that, again, I'm not familiar with the network. I probably should take a look at it. That way I can at least, I mean, like if it's an exchange token, let's see, let's look at coin market cap. We can also see where to buy it. Pith, PYTH. Pith network. That looks like it's related to Opus. whether by the look of its logo. Lowest fastest growing first party Oracle network. Okay. Real time market data to financial dApps across 40 plus blockchains. Okay. No, the Oracles are, this is like the Oracle space, like Link and a couple others. So I would say that Pith probably would do pretty well in that case, depending on who's backing the project and, how successful it is and all that. Let's see here. Provides 380 plus low latency price feeds across cryptocurrencies, equities. Okay, so yeah, price feeds. Now I'm starting to like this coin. The network comprises some of the world's largest exchanges, market makers, financial services providers who contribute their own data for use by smart contracts. Binance, OKX, Jane Street, Bybit, CBOE Global Markets. That's pretty big. Let me zoom in on this so y'all can read it. Those are some really big players right there. So if they're gathering data from Binance, OKX, Jane Street, Bybit, CBOE Global, and more, and they're an oracle interpreting data from 40 plus chains, talking about cryptocurrencies, equities, ETFs, FX pairs, and commodities, then this might actually be a big token. So Pith Network, I mean, let me take a quick look at the tokenomics. Let's see here. Total supply 9 billion. Circulating is 1.5 billion, and about 14% of the entire supply is traded in 24 hours. Let's look at markets where one can buy Pith, Binance, OKX, Bybit, KuCoin, Binance, MexC, FEMEX, pretty much anywhere. You can get Pith pretty much anywhere at this point. But I'd say, I don't know, I mean, just on the basic bit that I've read here, I would say, a $10 coin, maybe. But their logo is incredibly close to Opus Clip, but it does have nothing to do with it. Watch this. Opus Clip is a product for people who make videos. If I go to their website, you'll see their logo. You see the logo right there? It's very close, but nothing to do with it. Apparently, they just might have to have a conversation with each other's lawyers about that logo. See Opus Clip right here, and then if you look back here, Pith Network, very close right there. I'd be having a conversation, guys, but I don't think there's any connection. Obviously, there's some difference in the logo, but long story short, though, interested in Pith. Yeah, interested in Pith. Let me take a quick look at something. Okay, good to go. Make sure everybody's good. All right, cool. So that's Pith. Yeah, $10 coin, $100 coin. I mean, with those relationships, I would say anywhere from 10 to $100. So you're talking about a times 10 from here in the bull market. Quite possible. Of course, nothing that we say on here is investment advice. We don't know the future, even though sometimes it might seem like we do. We just use tools to predict the future is what we do, right? Okay, so let's move on. In the absence of any requests, I'll probably just go through the regular group. Solana, looking strong. It looks like Solana is kind of catching a bid now that Bitcoin looks to be possibly stabilizing above 60,000. So algo wise, of course, like every other crypto, it is strong high time frame. From what I can see, it does look like it will range. It looks like this kind of is the beginning of the new range. So, I mean, I'm not saying it's going to happen like this because we don't have enough data for what I'm about to say here. What I just will do, though, is draw what I think the range will be. So, what I'm about to draw, I wouldn't take for gospel. But I'm guessing that price ranges in this area before it breaks out. Now, this is based on the thesis that Bitcoin ranges above 60,000 and does not break below. And because we are pre-halving, Bitcoin could cool off and then pull up, right? Or I should say, it could cool off, head down before it pulls up. That could easily happen. So be careful out there, right? Okay, so let's see what's going on with AVAX. Interesting. Okay, so the little trade that I did not take on purpose, that one would have stopped out, I think. So, but I didn't take that trade. The other trade that I didn't, I took neither of these, and of course, a lot happened in the market since then. So we, the trade might even be invalid at this point. But that was a trade I was considering at one point. But of course, Bitcoin calmed down, AVAX calmed down. But still, the targets remain. I mean, the 272 got grabbed, so actually, I probably would abandon that Fibonacci extension. Um, yeah, it just looks like price is creating a range up in this area. So let's erase all the drawings, and kind of looks like price is creating this range, more or less. Maybe this. Maybe this. I think this is what we're seeing. I'll have to kind of keep an eye on this and see if price deviates from this, but this looks like what's going on right here, more or less. And then price, may have deviated from that. So we'll see if this range continues. We're in a period of consolidation in crypto, that's for sure. So, this will be the time looking for probably like reversal trades, trading the range, things like that. I think that's what we can expect. Yeah. So Lisa, 20. Oh, thank you, Lisa. Yeah, I appreciate that. Lisa Gray is saying 20 people watching, only 3 thumbs up. Yeah, I mean, actually on YouTube, yeah, there are 20 people in here. So let's see a thumbs up. Let's get those likes out. Appreciate that. Also, go ahead and make your requests. What cryptos do you want to see? Right? Let me see what's on my interest list. Let's take a look at XRP just to see what it's doing. I just hold XRP. It's the way that it moves is not as tradable. Some might say inorganic, some might say not natural. Some might be correct. Okay, yeah. So definitely holding like this solid lower bound. So, we did have that spike up a couple of weeks ago. So I would actually, just by looking at the history of what's been going on, I would expect to see price head down and maybe bottom out around 50 cents and then head up again and just do this. But one thing I noticed is if you back off on a super high time frame, which we're on the weekly, so I could probably pull this off, but let's do it this way. Let's go to XRPUSD on like Coinbase, not on Coinbase. Maybe that's okay, but I want to see something older. Let's do the trading view version. Okay, so going back, you could almost map out this weird sort of parabolic bottom. I mean, I'm talking about going back to like 2018. You can almost map this out, but it's not clear enough for me to be comfortable with that. But if this were true, then this would not take too long to really start crushing upwards. But for now, what I'm a little more comfortable with is mapping out this lower bound going back to 2022. That lower bound has been more or less respected. So yeah, it could be the price just kind of goes down to the 50 cent, 55 cent level and then spikes up again. And we just continue to see this march up for a while. That seems to be what's going on. Mab Vet says, I was acupuncturing myself and didn't have an extra thumb. I don't even know what that means. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the kind of blue chip ones. We got ADA. Yeah, ADA taking a break. Let's see here. Let's look on the daily. Well, look on the. Yeah, ADA definitely taking a break. Um, yeah, let's see. Let me go on the daily here. If anything, ADA will probably just range. Lower bound will be this low, this January lows would be the lower bound. ADA doesn't seem as strong to me as some of the other coins out there. So, uh, but I think Bitcoin needs to be going up for ADA to go up at this point. Now, ADA, of course, that could change. I know that there's some pretty big ADA heads out there. There are people who really watch ADA. One of them is a buddy of mine, and they have a lot. They have a lot of development going on behind the scenes. So there are a ton of crypto companies where they just come out with some crypto, they make a big splash, they pay for a lot of, exposure in the news, and they get all this money, and then they just kind of like, evaporate. What's going on with this? I mean, you have coins out there that are humongous coins that, as far as I know, there ain't nothing going on with them, like Litecoin. You know what I mean? Like, I don't, I'm sure. I mean, look, there's people mining it. I'm not saying it's not doing anything, but there's projects out there that are from like 2018 that just have nothing going on. Cardano has been around for a while, but they have stuff going on. They're developing. And one thing I don't think we've seen yet this cycle is a metaverse run. That metaverse narrative hasn't really hit yet. And I know last time that was towards the end of the market cycle. One of the I think the AI and the file storage seem to be the narratives that are still going. And DPIN was working for a minute, the decentralized market, like the whole structure for the crypto. But I don't know. I haven't really been measuring the narratives lately, just more watching the charts. So that's more my style anyway. But one thing to watch is the narratives, because narratives actually in crypto they do push the market a fair amount. Uh, it's just, I mean, it could be coincidence. It could be that people are following a narrative just because a certain sector is going up, or it could be self-referential. I don't know. But back to ADA Cardano, they actually have development going on. So if Bitcoin does kind of range above 60K, you could see what I just drew. You could see Cardano hang out here and then choose a direction, right? That could be what we see. But for now, I'm not expecting anything. I just will watch Cardano, see if it builds a range or not. It hasn't yet really built a range I'm comfortable defining. I'm just kind of like, putting a range out there that I think is going to be built, right? Like I think it's going to bounce in here. So we only have 1-2 touches. It's not really a range that I'm comfortable with yet. Okay. So, I don't see any other questions in the chat, so I guess I'll move on. We'll take a look at gold. I know it's an all-time high. Let's see here. And I know, gold does somewhat track with crypto. They're both considered, I guess, like safe havens in a way. Gold's certainly a safe haven. But yeah, gold is well, it actually popped up sooner than I thought. You can see that I thought price would come down and grab liquidity, but it just simply popped up. So, gold could be moving on to its new paradigm I'm talking about a paradigm that's years in the making. So, very interesting chart. I think I might hold off and wait for the gorilla on this one. And by the way, today is Thursday. So, if you're not with Algo Factory already, today's a big day. It's the drips day. V the Gorilla is going to come in and here's the thing. And V's probably going to show up before the end of this YouTube here. But what's going on is that the Gorilla, my business partner, who you see on these shows, he's almost always in the private chat, which starts in about 5 minutes from now, Monday to Friday, right, where our private members get to ask questions. And V the Gorilla doing very large crypto and gold deals around the world. Like, he's shown us the deals, or at least some of the deals that he does. And so, long story short, he just has a handle on what's going on in the world, around the world, and has for a long time. That's why I work with the guy. And so he'll come in and tell us usually once a week, usually on Thursdays. Sometimes we will miss a Thursday, or sometimes there will be 2 different, days where he does it besides the Thursday. You know what I'm saying? Like, it averages out to be about 4 or 5 drips a month. And he tells us information that he does not share anywhere else, at least not for several weeks to a month. So we get it early, or we are the only ones to get it at all. And that happens today. It's called drips. So, we're going to have that start here very soon. But I figured I would just give you all the chance to, to ask some more questions. While we're doing that, I'm going to take a brief look at the calendar. I think today we have, so 7:45. So another hour. Less than that. We're going to see some data come out for the U.S. Dollar, the flash manufacturing PMI that is coming out. So, so there we have it. That's what there is today. There's unemployment claims. Let me see if I can grab the data on that. I'm willing to guess that the unemployment claims were lower than expected. I mean, these data are good chance they're manipulated, but that's fine. Whatever. They're pretty much at expected. Unemployment claims 210, expected was 212. So just below expected. I don't think that's going to make a big difference in the markets, but it might cause some money that was sitting in the sidelines to come in, and that's more in the Forex market than anything. Obviously, yesterday, FOMC, Jerome Powell held rates steady, says we're not done fighting inflation, and is kind of saying that holding rates where they are is enough to fix that. And there are planned to be, like maybe 3 rate cuts later this year. So the market liked that. We saw a lot of markets really, we saw the dollar actually get weaker. But then again, that the dollar can actually ruin that as well. The dollar can get strong and take that. Yeah, right. The SG said it, they'll be revised later. So a lot of these data that come out, it doesn't matter what reality is, the data will be treated as real. And then like a month later, that data will be revised and to reflect the real numbers. So we can't really trust the data as a data point itself as that well. But what we can trust is that as this data reads on the screen, the market will trade it. This affects Bitcoin, it affects stocks, it affects everything. So it is across the board. So given that the gorilla is not here yet, I'm going to go ahead and let me see if he's already seen. I'm going to set us up here for the private live lab. But come on in. Yeah, see you on the other side, SG. Come on in to this YouTube. You can ask questions if you're interested in what we do. We can answer questions for free. We can do some custom charting. It's why I open this up. It is for people to come in and talk to us, right? So if you're not part of Algo Factory, first of all, smash the like button, even if you are part of Algo Factory. But if you're not part of Algo Factory, ask questions. Say, hey, what's this? Or I want to see that chart. That's what we're here for. That's what we do. This is for everybody, right? It's not just for Algo Factory members, because what is for Algo Factory members is about to start in the other room. So come on over, algofactory.tech. What we do is we help people learn how to extract money out of the market on a regular basis. For some people, that's maybe on, a few times a week. For some people, it's maybe a few times a month. And for some people, it's a few times a day. It depends on your schedule and your style. Nothing is guaranteed, but we can show you how it's done. We hope to see you over there. Join us.
Join us or die.